guys, it's Joy. Why did I say that word? It's Joy. Hi. Y'all probably know if the camera is just a little bit off. Well, I mean, I'm not talking about like when it's like this. Somebody had given me a tip, and I've talked about this, where this thing in the background, I can line it off of that. And thank you to whoever you were. It's probably something in the comments, because I now use that tip to try to help me even out the camera. It's probably still not 100%, but fuck it. We're gonna, we'll Jimmy rig it the best we can. But I have, if you can see, there's some fluff right here. And you know what? It's her fucking house. This couch is her bed. I ain't making her move. Yeah, I'm talking about you. That's right. So, I thought I'd do like a quick check-in with y'all. And you can watch my hair dry, because why the fuck not? It does. You hear me bitch about it, I'm like, it takes so long to dry. But I thought I'd do a quick check-in with y'all, because I know some people have had questions and some stuff, and just kind of talk about some stuff that's going on. Sorry about not putting up a video. Still haven't got the card fixed. It's gonna be a lot of stop and start. I apologize. So, we got, I think I told y'all, right? Or did I not put it up in that video? We got a new card. Are you leaving? Okay, bye, sweetie. I'm probably too loud for her. We got a new card, hoping it would help fix the situation, and it's even worse. It just cuts off whenever it wants. So there's gonna be a lot of me looking over here, and it's just making sure everything is still recorded and looking for that red dot. That's where the dot is, where my eyes are. Okay, so I'm a little more in frame since Pupper decided she's gonna go somewhere else. I think she doesn't like the light, which I don't blame her. I think it kind of bothers her eyes, because when I do this and I put on the lights and she's on the couch, she will bury herself in the pillows. She's so sweet. I love her. But okay, so I had a video planned and I deleted it. Y'all don't know, I have made many videos and just deleted them. I'm, you know, still learning the balance of, it's a weird balance of oversharing versus vlogging versus kind of having like a weird apathy towards being online. Like there's almost like a, well, does it fucking matter? Because my life has been just torn up, my privacy's just been completely torn apart anyway. You know, so there's, but sometimes I just film something to get out of my system and I delete it, and I had some personal stuff come up and I just decided I just don't want to put up a video. Like what I'm learning to work on right now, which is something I've had a hard time my whole life, and I'm not great at it, but is relaxing more with situations, if that makes sense. So, yeah. So I guess you're probably asking what the fuck is the title about. So, and I'm sure there's a lot of hate watching right now, which is fine, because my hate watchers, hey loves, hey, y'all help pay my bills. I appreciate you. I really do. All those thumbs down in those comments, like, I think when they do this, they think it bothers me or they think it's gonna get to me. No, everything helps, even the negative stuff, so I appreciate it. I'm not on here for like a popularity contest. I learned I lost that a long time ago, and that's fine. Sometimes people don't like you for X, Y, and Z, and sometimes people don't like you when you speak the fucking truth. Sometimes people don't like you for their own fucking personal reasons, right? There's all kinds of reasons, but anyway, the title of this video, Midlife Crisis. I don't know if I've talked about this before, because thank God my memory. Warning to a lot of you who watch, anybody who's been a fan for a while, y'all know sometimes I'm gonna repeat myself. You might hear things repeated, I don't know. I have memory issues, people know this. I find it funny, like, the new ones I get, I'm not upset with, but like the hate watchers who get so mad that I repeat myself, I'm like, I've got fiber. Y'all know this. Y'all know this. Y'all know I have memory issues. It's like, watch at your own risk of me repeating myself. If that's the worst thing that's happened in your day, you are a blessed human being. But, okay, so what's been going on with me? A few things, and I thought that I would talk about one of them because, like, I want to talk about stuff that goes on that is a surprise to me as an adult, because there's so many things in school and in life we are not told and we are not prepared for, like in the fucking slightest. And people don't prepare you for midlife crisis. They don't. And most people don't understand at all what it is. I'll do a video on this one day, but like, it really drove me nuts because until I was like 29, I had no instinct, no hormonal, nothing to want kids. Nothing. Nada. In fact, I was disgusted. Not disgusted with children, but like the thought of having children was like, ugh, it just disgusted me, if that makes sense. I was like, it's not for me. And then people would say, it'll change one day. You'll change your mind one day. And nobody explained to me that there's a hormonal shift that happens. Then all these weird instincts kick in. So you can mentally, and emotionally on many levels not want a child and have other goals that you would rather do, and then these instincts kick in. They don't explain these things. Like, people didn't. That's why a lot of times when I do videos, I like to speak in very literal terms, because people like to fucking dance around shit. And I don't know if it's just that, like, the baby boomers are just used to not communicating, or if they think that there's a superiority complex, like there's some big secret that we're just not a part of, we don't get to be in on, about, like, they have this, I've noticed a lot of the baby boomers that I grew up with, a lot of our parents, they have this, like, ego about being an adult, how important that is. Hold on, my battery's gonna die. God damn it. Okay, I think we're good now. I started, it said full battery. Like, by the time I look over, it's that flashing red. So, and we were on a hot streak. We were on a hot streak with this little card not fucking up. The video I filmed yesterday, I just talked for a while, and like towards the end, it was like every 45 seconds. I was like, you've got to be kidding. But okay, so, by the way, the stuff I'm talking about with baby boomers, I understand not all baby boomers act this way. Maybe you had great parents, roommates' parents didn't act that way. But I have seen myself, as well as I'm sure many others, many white baby boomers tend to all have specific attitudes and egos and mannerisms about themselves. I think they were just highly trained by, like, the television and what society thinks. And granted, our generation was too, to a degree, but then it was like, I think the advent of the internet really helped people start to think outside the box, because we had a tool to do that with. So anyway, just because I'm gonna have some people, oh, you fucking hate the baby boom, I'm gonna have that in the comments. I always have everything in the comments. But okay, so I wanted to talk about midlife crisis. By the way, it's not that dramatic. It ain't that at least for me. But I wanted to talk about some of the things that I'm going through, and some of the things, the misconceptions I feel like that I have seen about what an actual midlife crisis is. Now, I'm not an expert. I'm not sitting here and talking to you with a fucking PhD or diploma up my dick. I'm just telling you my experiences with some of this stuff, and just letting y'all know, because I think I have some younger-ish people that watch that, you know, some of this might come in handy if this ever happens to them when they're older, or some people my age or older that are going through it, they can relate, you know? So, in my situation, when I say midlife crisis, there's no big crisis. I would, for me, call it more of a life evaluation. So let me kind of back up a little bit. I feel like, as young people, I'm not saying I'm young, I'm gonna be, oh my god, I'm gonna be 35 this year. How am I still alive? I'm like, how the fuck am I still living? But, you know, as for young people, I was young at some point. Maybe some people still think I'm young, I don't. But growing up, it seems like the only thing that we're ever really told about a midlife crisis is like watching sitcoms or watching television shows where some guy who's between his mid-30s to somewhere in his upper 40s, all of a sudden, like some guy with a family, you know, all of a sudden starts acting like an ass and spending all the funds on some hot car and starts acting like a dick and cheating around on his wife, and then goes and makes another family. Like, that is, I feel like, what I've always seen about midlife crisis. And it always confused me, because it wasn't, like, in my life, I didn't, like, I know I'm talking about sitcoms, but I also saw my mother and father both go through it around the same time when they got divorced. And it was very interesting when I was like, what, I was 5 when they got divorced, and I remember like observing all of this, and it was very, very interesting. And I didn't really understand it at the time, but it was something that, you know, over the years I've kind of processed and thought about and tried to understand a bit more. And I saw it not just with obviously my parents, but you know, the baby boomers were the divorce generation. And I'm not, it's weird. It's like, on the one hand, I think it's good that they decided if you know, to stand up and say how they feel if something's not working. And I think that's a good thing, and it's a good thing to be able to not have a stigma if you're in a bad relationship to leave. But at the same time, I think the baby boomers, a lot of them are just whiny assholes who don't know how to stick something out. If it's uncomfortable, they don't like it. It's my opinion. And again, if you want to bitch at me, I get pissed about my generation, I get pissed about millennials. Every generation has their shit. Okay, I'm an equal opportunity lover and irritator. I love everything, and I'm irritated by lots of stuff too. But people never really explained it. like for both my parents, they would have been, yeah, mid-30s. Mid-30s when they got their divorce, both decided to lose their minds, kind of go out, party, and it was almost like this life they thought they either wanted or they were supposed to have, the married life with kids, didn't work, and they weren't compatible people for each other, I guess. I mean, they both have their amazing flaws, neither one of them will fix. Actually, I will take it back. I think my mother did try. I think my mom really did try. Like, before they got divorced, my mom, she was a mom. She was a good mom. But once they got divorced, she lost her goddamn mind. Like, my dad, I always remember, he was very apathetic and he was kind of neglectful. But just kind of digressing, and by the way, if anybody's upset with me talking about my family, I have said this before and I will say it again. The only people I spoke about really were my mom, who I have no contact with, and she has done horrible things to me. I have no problem speaking about her. And then the white trash side of the family, who I have issues with. And other family members decided to come out and say horrible things about me, and so it's like the gloves are off, in my opinion. So I will speak about whatever I want to speak about, considering all the lies they have spread. So, disclaimer. But, by the way, I'll also say this. If you don't like long, rambly streams of consciousness videos, my videos aren't for you. I don't know why you watch me. these long vlog type videos, but I enjoy them. And hey, there are some fucking people that enjoy them. And if you are one of them, I appreciate it. If you hate to watch me, again, thank you as well. So, okay. I watched them, like, basically, and again, the way I thought about it was like, the way I saw it was, they did what they thought society wanted by getting married and having kids. But it wasn't deep down, I think, what they both wanted. They have both said, on numerous occasions, at family gatherings, in front of the whole family, on different sides of the family, both my mother and my father have said to us, in front of people, never have children. The worst decision I ever made was having children. I wish I would have never had children, while me and my sister are sitting there going, you know what's funny? My sister actually took it harder than I did, because I was like, why are you surprised? You know these people. So it's fun watching my sister on lolcow try to defend and back up my mother when I have texts and messages and emails over the years of her backing me up. So hey girl, hey. I don't know how it feels to be that horrible of a human being, but that's on you. So, midlife crisis. And so when they got divorced, they both acted a goddamn fool. And one thing I noticed was they went off and they got with other partners, and those other partners had their own crazy ass, awful situations with kids and their divorces. And basically they became parents to the other families and just left me and my sister to fend for ourselves. And I know many people, like many of the baby boomer children, we grew up this way. We are like the neglected kids of the family that first didn't work and wasn't wanted. Neither one went off and actually had more kids, funny enough. Like they didn't. I remember one time, funny story, and it makes more sense now. When my mom had gotten divorced, my sister and I would sometimes, like one time we got this idea, wouldn't it be awesome if mom had a baby and we had a baby sibling to play with, and we were trying to and we were like, what, 6 and 8, and we were like, come on, please have a baby, and she lost her mind and was screaming at us that she's never gonna do that. And it's so funny, because I think, like, she was livid mad, and I realize now that I think I realize why. I mean, she's still a bitch for the way she reacted. Like, I think about both my parents, and I'm like, if I were a parent, I could never act that way. But here's what happens with situations like that in a midlife crisis, from what I've seen. I'm just telling you my perspective. I think what happened was you had two people, again, that didn't do what they wanted in life. I think it was a combination of I know specifically with my mom. My dad is a little bit more, I'm not 100% sure, because I'm not close to him at all. And that's my doing. But in both situations, I think they didn't take the time to cultivate who they are, whatever talents or passions they had. They didn't have the courage to go after what they wanted to do. And then it was just easier to go along with what society tells you to do. Because, like, for a lot of times in familiar generations, when you go along with the status quo, you get benefits from the family, depending on how the family operates. And I have the kind of family that's going to reward you for being John Q. Public and doing exactly what they think society is supposed to tell you to do. That's why, like with my sister can have a criminal record for stealing things, DUIs, have done horrible things, and at the same time, she will be more favored than I am. And she will always be looked at as more credible as a human being, even though she's the one with mental illness on medication, because from their perspective of what they think society wants, she fits that mold. Whereas because I'm the eccentric that does things my own way and I don't ask for help, I don't get any benefit of the family, but I don't ask for it. Does that make sense? So I think there's a component there. I'm just talking about my parents. There's a laziness component there. And what I think happened was they just never took the time to figure themselves out and then had children. Now, I want to state this because I don't want to offend anybody. I understand situations happen. Sometimes horrible, awful situations, sometimes people just make choices. I am not saying if you have kids before you've done what you want that you're a shitty person. I'm not saying I'm not telling you, I'm not trying to say anything negative if that's a situation you've been in. I know many people who had kids when they were young because they were raped, statutory rape, like horrible things have happened, or, nobody taught them about sex and they just made different decisions. And, I'm not saying that's like, I'm not trying to put anybody down. I'm just talking about what I've seen from my parents and then what I've seen overall and what I've seen for myself. So, I hope that makes sense. No disrespect. I know some awesome people that put aside what they wanted because they had kids and they put their kids as the focus. And that's what you should do. And good on you, bitch. Good on you, bitch. Like, that's how it should be. Okay, so where does this tie in with me? Well, I had never ever been taught or had any concept of what a midlife crisis is, except for watching my family, which, by the way, the things I'm talking about, it was never talked about like they're having a midlife crisis. This is all shit I feel like I've pieced together over the years, especially kind of going through it lately. And I'll tell you that this didn't hit me, and it started for me in my late 20s. I had left a bad relationship where I had just given, and the person was just horrible to me and took. Like, oh God, I have stories y'all never hear. And when I left, I decided, that's it. I just had this I think it was in my late 20s, and I had this overwhelming urge. I've got to go after my dreams now. And I knew, I know I'm capable, I know what I can do, and I just had to get the courage in myself. Like, I kept my whole life since I would say to my senior year of high school, it's been about survival and negative people around me and a struggle between the two. And you might say, okay, well, the negative people is my fault. To a degree, yeah, I absolutely agree. And in the end, you have to always take responsibility for your choices. But what I'm also seeing is that you don't know what you don't know. And everybody has to learn what they don't know in different times. Everybody's threshold of learning something in different areas is different. And because I grew up with asshole people, it took me a long time to understand. I attracted asshole people into my life who took advantage of me, who blah, 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 and I thought that was love, I thought that was comfort, and it took me a long time to understand that. So in my late 20s, I had just left a relationship and I said, I'm done, I'm going after my dreams, and I 100% focused on that. And I was almost there. I almost got there. I had everything lined up. That's the modeling pictures you guys saw. That's that video, that singing video I did, where I was getting everything ready. And I got sick. And in getting sick, it halted everything. And in getting sick, this might sound weird to some of y'all, but the fear of survival kicked in, and I said, okay, I literally had just created a YouTube channel. I was gonna start doing YouTube. Y'all could have seen me as early as 2013 when all of this happened. And because I got sick, didn't know what it was, and I wasn't insured, it kicked in survival instincts, and I said, I'm gonna fully go back to work. And I mean, I went back to work. People have tried to debunk my resume, which it has been proven true. I took on several different contracts, some small, some long-term, and I made a fuck ton of money. And part of it was, I think I had this impending sense of, there's something really wrong with my health that we can't figure out, and it's gonna take money and time to figure it out, and it did. So I put everything off, but I kept having this overwhelming feeling. So it's been the last 6 years for me. You're running out of time. You're running out of time. You're running out of time. This overwhelming feeling, and yet situations just kept coming up. And in the end, I finally got to the place. I had lots of money. I was doing really well. I was getting offers all the time for work. I had a place in the south of France. I am not kidding you. I had an apartment in the south of France. Life was good. And I was sick, but I was just barely functioning and getting by. And then everything tanked as soon as like late 2015 hit. My body was like, you're done. Right? Y'all heard this story. Which leads me to where I'm at today. So, and you guys know the story of me being on YouTube. So, what does this have to do with midlife crisis? Well, this is what's been going on lately that I've been processing. It's like there's been this, and it's hard to explain, but there's this overwhelming feeling, and it's not just like it's emotional, but it's more than that. It's like it's like an instinct, that's the best way I can describe it, that is having me look at the last probably 15 years of my life. It feels like a life it's almost, yeah, have you ever heard of like people saying they died and went to heaven and they had a life review? Like in a few seconds, like their life flashed before their eyes and they understood everything. Well, obviously I'm not saying, that's what's happening. It's not happening like that, but I feel like there's this life review I've been going through where I'm looking at all these different points in the last 15 years? Yeah, so about since I've left high school, where I fucked up. Or where I could have taken a different path. And I'm somebody and what a lot of y'all don't know about me is I'm somebody that's really hard on myself. And that's why I've said this before and I'll say it again. Y'all have no idea the amount of battling I've done with eating disorders and OCD about my body, to where I've said there is nothing any of y'all are gonna say about my weight that isn't a billion times worse than what I have lived in myself. So, you know what I mean? Like, and the cool thing is that going through all of this weight gain from being ill has forced me to let go of control and forced me out of that mindset. It's forced me to not look at the scale several times a day. It's forced me to not, measure appendages and check OCD about exactly how much weight I gained. I used to be able to look in the mirror and know if I've gained a half pound or a pound. It was fucking crazy. Like, it was very, very detailed. About that kind of thing, and it came and went over the years, but where was I going with that? Sorry. Okay, life review. So I'm doing this whole thing where I'm looking back over the last 15 years, and I'll tell you at some points. Like, one is when I went to college. I did 1 year of college, and how do I put this? I'm trying to put this in, and it's also overwhelming to try to think about 15-ish years ago. Oh, real quick, I'll finish that point about being hard on myself. I'm very hard on myself, and it's, you guys, and that's why I laugh when people think I'm just this lazy blob. I'm like, oh my God, you guys have no idea. I beat myself up all the time, and thank God part of this illness has taught me to start being compassionate with things about myself, the things I can't change, not to just be so hard on myself. And it's hard because I have this battle of looking back at the last 15 years of different points where I see I've screwed up, or even not screwed up, but where I took a different path that I now regret. It might not even necessarily been a huge screw up. Points where I didn't have faith, points where I knew to do something and I didn't. And it's hard because I am kind of beating myself up. So, okay, here's one. So, I've said before, and I now question it to a degree. I've said before one of the best decisions I ever made was leaving college. And although I agree to an extent, I agree to an extent, I agree with the logic of it because I was going for vocal performance, basically classical singing. I wasn't gonna make any money as a classical singer. And at the same time, I didn't have the kind of voice that would make it big in the classical world, and I didn't even want to. I just wanted the training. It was something I thought I was supposed to want. I actually wanted to be artistic and do other singing opportunities and things, and make videos. Before YouTube was a thing, I did broadcast journalism. I literally went out and filmed news pieces and videos for my school and submitted them and won international awards and shit. It was awesome. I had so much fun. Like, it's funny to think back now. I'm like, God, I was doing that between 98 and 2003. And it was just like 3 more years until YouTube. Well, we didn't fucking know. We had no idea. But I loved it. I didn't go to school for broadcast journalism because I realized very quickly after I left school that the world of journalism was not going to be what I wanted. Like, I was going to have to work for a corporation and be a newscaster and talk about their stories, not really what I wanted to do. And I then looked into conspiracies and all that, and I didn't want to, as well as I also knew broadcast journalism is it's a very high stress job. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. But most high school kids don't have any grasp or concept of what the real world is like until you get out in it, right? And that's kind of what happened my first year of school. And I've said before, like I said, one of the best decisions I ever made was to leave college and go get life experience. And while I've been really reconsidering that though, what if I would have stayed? Now, it's very difficult because I remember when I started school, like when I was in college, MySpace wasn't even a thing. I don't think, was it a thing in 2003? Like, I remember back then it was LiveJournal and Zanga. And I didn't even get involved in Zanga until after I left college. I think I got one in late 2004, but that was what everybody did. And I got introduced into MySpace in late 2004. Somebody had showed it to me, and I don't think Facebook wasn't a thing either. I'm trying to remember, but I think back now and I think, what if I had found a way to stay in college? Damn it, this is gonna make me emotional. And when I had graduated, like I went in 2003. I would have graduated in 6 or 7 because I had extra credits and I was like I said, I was a very type A, so I wanted to get my degree early, and I would have. I would have literally come out of college right to YouTube, or I could have even done YouTube in college. And I've really been thinking about that, and it really bothers me. I think I could have avoided different things. Now, it's weird because on the one hand, I left college and ended up going over to Europe for 2 years. I lived in Paris and I did amazing things. Amazing things. And I will always be grateful for the experience. But, like all experiences, there were things that were limiting about it. And I'm grateful for the people that helped me do that. I'm not going to talk about them, obviously, but I will always appreciate them. I think they know that. But I realize, had I had some faith in myself, this is the battle I'm having. I'll sit here and say, had I had faith in myself, I could have done X, Y, and Z, but then when I really look back and remember, we had no clue what was, like, somebody like me, maybe people who were in technology or computer majors or programmers knew, but like for the common person, we didn't know YouTube was coming. We didn't, and even then, like, I'm battling in my mind about, like, yeah, I say that, but people didn't make money. I remember we didn't make money with YouTube in the beginning. I think I found YouTube in 2005. Is that right? I don't know if, I think it was 2005. Don't quote me. I don't 100% remember when YouTube came out, but I feel like I remember sometime in like early mid summer, I found YouTube in 2005. I think. I remember really diving into YouTube in 2006 though. That's when I really dove into it. But I argue with myself. Like, I really argue with myself about it because I'm like, okay, but at the same time, look at everything going on. I needed to get away from my family, who were very toxic. They're still very toxic. I was not gonna have my college paid for after my first year. I didn't know if I couldn't get loans because it was too late to apply when I figured it out. I don't know if they still have this, but they called it FAFSA back then, FAFSA. It was a government program to basically, I forget now, God, my memory's so bad, but it was basically like you could apply to go to school cheaper, but both parents made too much money, but neither one were helping me. So I was just shit out of luck everywhere I went. So a part of me goes, I couldn't have stayed in school anyway. At least not with and I tried, I really did try. At least not, I was on my own. I was, 19 and trying to figure all this out. And then having my family do crazy stuff and trying to figure out school and realizing I'm gonna have to be completely on my own out in the real world. It was a very scary time and nobody knew YouTube was coming. So it's weird because on the one hand, I'm upset with myself for certain things, but on the other hand, I'm looking at it with a lot of compassion, remembering what was going on at the time and all of the stress. And then I'm looking back, like, there's certain points, and one was, I remember I was in Vancouver, Canada, and I was looking at YouTube and got obsessed, and I'm like, this is it. This is fucking it. And I knew this was my future. And I knew this is what I need to do. And the person I was with felt the same way. And we started a YouTube channel back then. It's now defunct. That I think within a month we got 1,000 subs. YouTube was very different back then. I worked really hard on it for about a month. We got, back then, like they would have, this was before they had like specific, like even categories of channels. Like they would have a whole thing of like new users who just signed up. You could go, what I would do is I would go to like people who just signed up or even anybody's channels, and I would leave personal messages to everybody, similar to what I do in the comments. Just, hey, how's it going? We have this channel, I like your video, and I would interact with people, and I started to get popular fairly quickly for back then. And we had some awards, like we were in the top 10 of videos for the week. I don't even remember. They used to have those, remember those little awards they would have? And life circumstances happened and we stopped. And at that time, you weren't getting paid for it. And then I remember a time about a year later where I was on my own and I was kind of isolated and really trying to work on my dreams. I remember at that point, What the Buck was huge. I was watching What the Buck, and I really wanted to do YouTube, but I was barely paying my bills. And I didn't think I was good enough to do anything on it yet. And I didn't have the money to get a little camera. And I had like one of those phones that just had it was like the free phone. It didn't have, I don't even know, wait, back then I think they had, yeah, this would have been 2007. So they had cameras on phones, but it wasn't a real widespread thing, I think. And you couldn't really take that many pictures, so it was still a new, kind of newish technology. So I think back to then, but then I remember the circumstances. And there were other points, like I think back to, the relationship I talked about I left. How it's very frustrating to think back to all the people who didn't believe in me. And had they just believed in me and had some faith and shown a little bit of support, I wouldn't have had to constantly be in survival mode for no reason. And constantly been focused on survival versus my gut feeling, because my gut instincts many times are right. And I think what's happening is I'm in this, there's a couple things. I'm in this weird position now, and I'm not going to talk about it. Like, this is something that's sacred for me. There's some things I keep very sacred. But I'm in this weird position right now where there is a trend I've been following for a while. And for me, it's the next YouTube for me. And by the way, it has nothing to do with even YouTube. Like, it has nothing to do with filming or videos or anything. But it's the next, to me, it's like, this is going to be a revolutionary thing. It's something I've been working on for a while, silently. I'm not really talking about it. But it's something where I have to have a lot of faith. A lot of faith. And that's really hard to do right now in my situation with my health and with work, jobs. Like, this is my job right now, which is scary because this isn't the kind of thing you want to rely on. And you all know I'm having an internal struggle just with having to rely on YouTube right now. This is not ideal. And it's not, I would rather make videos because I want to make them, not because I want to make money, but granted, the videos I make, I like the videos I make, I'm happy about them. I'm not making content that I don't like just for the sake of. I mean, there's some things I think I could change or do better, but then again, limitations. There's limitations going on. And I think there are a couple things going on. I think number one, there's a bit of a midlife crisis, which I'll get into in a second. And I'll kind of tie it all together. But number two, I think I'm on the verge of a big transition in my life. And I'm coming up on it. And this time, I am kind of battening down the hatches and I'm going to ride the wave. I'm not going to run away from it. Or, it's not even run away. It's like, that's the hard thing is I look back and I'm like, it's not, the majority of the time, it wasn't that I didn't have the bravery or the guts. It was just so many other things going on that I had to take care of. And it is so frustrating. It's so frustrating to look back, and it's just like, I just had asshole, selfish baby boomer parents. There was no people are drug addicts or all these bad situations. It was just, they're assholes. Like, that's it. I'm the product of assholes. It's embarrassing to think about, you know, but it is what it is. Lots of rejection to work on, which I think I'm doing pretty okay with. I've kind of processed and filtered that. But I'm on the verge of another big thing. And it's the game I've learned. It's always the same. It's patience and faith. Patience and faith. Patience and faith. And that's where I'm at. And the other thing too is, I think this is something I'm learning about looking back at these different points in my life. A lot of what held me back was being around the wrong people. 100%. 100%. I have said repeatedly, once roommate and I end our relationship, and it will come to, I don't want to talk too much about it, but you know, people don't understand our relationship. It will come to an end at some point. We are not long-term people. We are both very aware of this. We are two people that deeply care about each other, but we're not long-term people. I don't know that I'll ever be in another relationship. Like, if I can get my body back, my health, and the way I used to look, I don't know that I ever want to be in a relationship again. It would have to be just the right person. And I'm not one of those, I'm not saying it from like malice. I'm not saying it like I'm never gonna be with somebody else. I hate all men, that's men. It's just more that I've seen time and time again that I don't pick the right people. Roommate's the one I picked that was right, but he's a good guy, but we're not the right people for each other, most likely. And we're totally at peace with that. We've been very aware of this. That's why when people were so mad about, what, when did you guys start dating? Why did you disclose this? It's because, well, it's a very odd situation that people don't understand. And with all the harassment going on, I didn't want to talk about it. And people who don't understand that, I'm like, how can you not understand that I didn't want his life being torn apart? But you know, when we just have, not everything is based on having to be deeply in love and have kids in this world. And you know, that's how it is. If you are a person where you have the luxury of being able to do that all the time, then great, good on you. That's not everybody. But I've just said I don't know if I'm going to be with anybody else, because relationships for me, I've learned, have been incredibly distracting. And it's like, I'm almost always meeting people that I have to give a leg up to. I come in and I do great things and try to help them out, and they fucking take and take and take from me. And the first time, roommate is not that person. Not that person. We uplift each other, and it's a balance, which is great. And I don't know that I'll ever meet another person like him where I'm gonna have a deep connection with. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. That's okay. So they're just things that I'm trying to stick in my head, because I think some really good big waves are coming, and I want to do it right this time. And I think I'm ready. I think I'm mature enough. And see, here's the other thing. I think back and I'm like, you know, though, I can argue several sides. At that point, like, would I have been ready to handle YouTube several years ago? I don't think so. Like, even though I was in a much better place, to a degree, I was younger, I was naive, I could be easily controlled by people, by men. And I barely survived last year's harassment. I couldn't have done that 5, 10, 15 years ago, you know? So I argue back and forth with what was the best decision. And what I've ultimately come to the decision is this, is what I'm telling myself. Everything worked out exactly as it needed to. And I'm not gonna regret, I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna grow, and I'm gonna get stronger. And this next wave that I feel is coming, it's just patience and faith and education, I think could be really good. And I'm gonna try to ride this wave if this is what's meant for me. And if not, then I keep humbly opening myself up to whatever God, the universe, whatever you wanna call it, and saying, guide me where I need to go. My gut tells me this, but if this isn't right for me, please guide me where I need to be. And I wanted to share that with y'all. Because I don't know if y'all, I feel like a lot of people go through this. And oh, let me tie this up with midlife crisis. Let me tell you what I think about midlife crisis. I don't think of midlife crisis. I think it is a part of a natural process many people go through once their late 20s, early 30s start. I think it hits everybody different, but I think basically what's happening is your body starts to change physiologically, your hormones start to change, you start entering different physical phases. And in that time, I think your body almost forces you to look at things in yourself. And a lot of people, I think, I don't want to say a lot, let me say, some people don't do the emotional and mental work on themselves. They just don't. And that's fine. I'm not telling you what to do or not do. I'm just saying what I observe. And I think at least what I've seen from like a midlife crisis, like I said, on sitcoms and TV shows, I think when you know, all of a sudden you just start going crazy and buying crazy shit and acting out and acting a fool, or like my parents, they got divorced and they just started acting like wild teenagers who were partying and getting blackout drunk all the time on the weekends and doing stupid shit and being with stupid people. You know, I don't want to be parents anymore. I don't want to be a teenager again. I think when people do that, I now have an idea. I think it's people who are unaware of their thoughts and their emotions, and they don't want to do the work. Does that make sense? But the thing is, if you don't do the self-reflective work, like I've said, I'm a very self-reflective person. I take a lot of time to process things and think about things, and when you don't take that time to look at things, to learn from things, to analyze what's happened in your life, it doesn't go away. It just builds up, and then it seeps out in different areas of your life. It really bad times, if that makes sense. So I think that's why a lot of people just act out, because they don't do the work. They don't know how to do the work. They don't know that work even needs to be done. There's just a very big lack of awareness. They just kind of, you know, these people, it's like they walk around like fucking zombies to what's actually happening. Like they know if they like something or don't like something, or if they feel good or they're irritated or stressed out, but they don't take that observation time. And then at some point they start acting a fucking fool. I think it is like your body's way of saying, hurry up and do the things you want to do before you get to the next, before you transition to the next stages of your life. And I like I said, I'm looking back with a lot of regret and a lot of guilt, but for the first time in my life, which I'm so happy about, I'm looking back with compassion. Looking at that girl back then and going, I see what was going on. And I'm also looking back, and this is something I've been doing lately, and this is really hard for me. And this has been something that's hard for me to do, but for the first time, I look back, I'll never be 100% satisfied. I don't think anybody can be. Well, I'm a perfectionist, so you're never going to be 100% satisfied, but I'm looking back with this compassion saying, wow, I know all the points where I messed up, where I could have done something different or taken a different path, but holy shit, look at everything I went through and what I accomplished in all of that, despite all of that. And for the first time, instead of constantly beating myself up, I can look back, learn from my mistakes, but be proud of myself and be like, I survived that. And not only did I survive that, I did this, this, and this while I was doing that. And it's hard because, like, I don't know if y'all grew up this way, but I grew up with a stage mom. And with a stage mom, my stage mom, there was a dichotomy of you're gonna be a superstar versus you're a fucking evil, awful person. And these two dichotomies that go back and forth inside myself as a result of being grown up that way. So what was ingrained, what I was supposed to do via my mother, which fucked me up for a long time, I'm never going to be that Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey singer, most likely. So in my mind, because of that, I've always failed. And I'm having to go back and look at everything and the reality of what was, and be honest with myself and be like, you know what? Number one, that wasn't meant for me. That was never meant for me. But number two, look at everything I did in spite of all of that. I think for me, I'm really proud now. I can be really proud because you know what? It would have been easy to put myself on YouTube. It would have been easy to go after my dreams and have everything I need. Parents that love me, family that supported me, everything I needed to do it. But looking back now and seeing everything I accomplished with all of the things, like all of the limitations and things happening, I can look back and say, you know what? That took a lot of strength. A lot of strength to go through all of that and still accomplish what I did. It'll never be good enough, but I can look at myself with more compassion. And I just feel like as a society, we're taught to not be compassionate with ourselves. And that is something that I'm actively trying to stop. So the cool thing is, like, I'm going through a little midlife crisis, and I've never been happier. Like, it is a growing experience, and it can be a growing experience. And if this happens to you when you get into your late 20s or 30s or whenever it hits, because I think it hits everybody at different times, just know, like, look at yourself with compassion. And also remember this too. I'm trying to tell this about myself. I'm going to be 35 this year, and it's hard to process that. But you know what? I still have time. And whatever is meant for me to do, it is meant for me to do, and it will happen and line up when I'm ready. And I think it's the same for all of us. So I just wanted to let y'all know, if you're going through something similar, just remember, you know, it's that, try not to beat yourself up too much. This world is too hard, and we all beat ourselves up over so many flaws. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to get preachy. I don't want to tell anybody what to do. I really feel for people who go through this kind of thing and suffer through it, you know, because for so long, I just used to beat myself up over every teeny tiny detail of anything I did or wrong or didn't do or thought I should do. And maybe that comes with age. Maybe it comes with, you know, just the way I grew up, but I'm able to look at myself with a lot more compassion. The other thing is, you know what? Mid-30s doesn't mean it's over. I also think we have this thing in our society. Like, I remember looking back and going, I'm 17 and I don't have a singing contract. I'm done. I remember thinking this shit at 17, being like, well, I didn't go to Hollywood and get in the Disney game early. Like, I remember having those thoughts, and I now look back and I go, oh my God, my young self, why did you stress out so much? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? You know what I mean? Like, oh honey, calm down. You got plenty of fucking time, thinking I was old at 23, and maybe in 10 years I'm gonna laugh at me going, I'm gonna be 35. But remember, you have time, you know, we have time. I'm trying to tell myself that. I still have lots of time. And I don't have to do anything conventional. I don't have to have kids. I don't have to get married. I can if I want to. And if I can get better, I can work again, I can make lots of money, and the sky's the limit. If I did it once, I can do it again. And this time I can do it, maybe I can do it without health limitations, because I'm overcoming them. And I'll give a quick update too. Just a quick one. I still don't know what I'm doing with the channel. I'm in a bit of it feels like I'm a bit hamstrung right now, because as much as a part of me would like to walk away, a big part, which we've talked about, I financially can't at the moment. Yet, I don't know if I'm well enough to work. I am actively looking, I'm actively seeking for things. I'm a bit torn with, like I said, I'm still torn with what to do with this channel. I still have videos I haven't put up because I just don't care about the bullshit and the drama. And I've heard this criticism, and people might say, yeah, but you say that, but you're putting up reps on videos. Well, here's the thing, I'll put up videos when I feel to. I can sit here and tell you I don't necessarily want to do this stuff anymore, but if the mood strikes, I'll put one up. I'm going to stay true to how I'm feeling, but overall, I don't so much care about this stuff. Now, if somebody's overstepping lines, like this Rupsion's girlfriend, and I can laugh about it and make a few bucks, okay, so be it. Doesn't mean I want my whole channel to be surrounding that, and like I said, I'm just really torn because I still have Peter Mon videos I haven't put up, and I'm kind of going back and forth on. I still have so much content I haven't put up, and I'm not settled yet, and I'm not going to make a decision until I know what I really want to do, you know, and I'm still really torn. So in case anybody's kind of curious as to what's going on there, that's where I'm at with that. So the answer is I don't know. I don't know, but I will say, and I'll talk about it at some point, I'm going to give it some time. I have had, over the last few days, a very positive uptick in my health. We have added something to my heavy metal program that has done a 180 with my body. But see, I've had this happen before where I do something and it's worked great, and then I start getting sick again. But the good thing is, it seems like it's a moving pendulum, and for every time I go a little bit backward, I'm going forward. A little bit backward, going forward. A little bit backward, going forward. And so yeah, I think for me, I have two milestones. When I can work again, successfully work, where my mind is okay to do it, where I'm free of a lot of this stuff, then that's one milestone. The second milestone is when I can finally lose some weight. But there is something going on that is massively helping my health situation, and I'm hoping it continues. We shall see. But I'm not gonna get too excited. I'm not gonna celebrate yet. I'm just gonna I'm gonna let it settle with my body, because you know I want to give it a while and see how this works. So yeah, but that's my midlife crisis. Thank y'all for listening and watching. I hope that makes sense. I hope it does. I hope, and when I say that, I don't mean like I hope it makes sense like, and I don't know, I had this boyfriend that used to say, it sounds like you're putting people down when you say it, like we're too stupid to understand, and I think I used to have an arrogance in the way I spoke. I still do sometimes, and it drives me nuts. I try to, like I said, it comes out when I'm angry. I'm trying to catch it. I try to catch it. I try to catch myself being preachy. It's a new age thing I've talked about, but I don't know where I was going with that. I just lost track. I'm going to end this video because I'm just pretty sure I've been talking for a fucking long time. But let me know in the comments what you think. Have you all gone through something like this? You know, of course, some of the young ones haven't, but, you know, it's cool. I'm hoping at least if somebody's young that's watching this, you have an understanding of if this does come up, you know, at some point in your life, don't be scared. This is if you know, anything in your life can be used as a positive tool for change if we look at it that way. At least that's how I try to live. But it's just all about the way I think the way you look at it and process it and the way you choose to react to it. So it can be a good thing. It doesn't have to be a scary thing. It's just all right, where are you at? What did you accomplish? What did you not accomplish? And how can you learn from that? How can you go forward differently into this next phase? And I'm not real sure what the next phase is of my life and my body. You know, in some ways, but in other ways, I'm really excited about the future. I'm really excited. So, okay, I'm gonna go. I love y'all. Take care. Continue to be blessings to yourselves and blessings to others. And continue to try to find the joy and the sparkles and all the bullshit in the world. Because they're always there. You just gotta find them. Just gotta find them and bring them out and giggle at them. Throw a red shoe at them. And a tiara with a price tag. I love y'all. Take care. I'll see you later. Mwah! Goodbye.